Ancient Japanese forests and mountains hold a darkness in which something terrifying and unknown lurks. Listen carefully, because in this video I will tell you about the mysterious mythical creatures that still inhabit Japan today. What hides in the dark corners of this culture? Welcome to the world of Japanese myths. But be careful, because some secrets are better left undisturbed. Friends, hello everyone. I am glad to welcome you to my channel. Recently, my family and I had the opportunity to immerse ourselves even more in Japanese culture, learning about unique Japanese traditions and landmarks during a 2-day tour that introduced us foreigners to Japanese life and showed us something special. And you know, the places we visited were quite special, filled with a pleasant and sometimes even mystical energy. I was so impressed by this trip that I wanted to delve deeper into Japanese mythology, learn more, and share it with you. And you know what I realized? The imagination of the Japanese knows no bounds, in the best sense of the word. Let me tell you more about the most mysterious and atmospheric places we managed to visit on this tour. At the same time, we will discuss Japanese deities, spirits, and mythical creatures. Some of them are warmly welcomed by the locals, while the mere mention of others can make your blood run cold. But before we begin, I kindly ask you to subscribe to this channel and like the video. It's important for me to receive feedback from you so that I can continue creating a lot of interesting and informative content for you. And, of course, every like helps promote this video. A huge thank you to everyone who has subscribed. So, our trip started with a journey to the village of Hakone, which is located 80 kilometers from Tokyo. It is situated between Mount Fuji and the Aizu Peninsula. From the bus, we could already see the incredible Mount Fuji. For the Japanese, it is a symbol of the country. Around the world, it is called Fujiyama, but not in Japan. Yama means mountain in Japanese. It is considered impolite here to call such a majestic volcano simply a mountain. Therefore, it is correct to respectfully call it Fujisan. In modern Japan, Shintoism is widely practiced, which says that all natural objects have a soul, and Fuji is a sacred bridge that connects heaven and earth. By the way, in local mythology, there is no heaven and hell. There is the sky, where all the deities originated, and there is earth, where we live. And instead of hell, there is the land of the dead called Yomi. The closer you get to Fuji, the colder and windier it becomes. It was cold in Tokyo, of course, but bearable, while here, the cold wind nearly knocks you off your feet. I wanted to show you Mount Fuji, but from here it looks so small. I hope that as we get closer, I can show it to you in all its glory. We arrived at our first location, where a mini cruise on Lake Ashi awaited us, lasting 25 minutes. There are first-class tickets on the upper part of the ship and economy tickets below. To see all the beauty, of course, it is better to buy first-class tickets with large windows, especially when the weather outside is not the best. But despite this, all the passengers still went out on the deck to fully soak in the atmosphere. There were quite a lot of people, and everyone bravely faced the cold wind. The wind here is simply unreal. It just sweeps you off your feet. But in the end, nature won, and we ran inside to warm up. Unlike European myths, the Japanese believed that the world was not originally a void. It was an endless ocean, with land floating on its surface like molten oil. Then, in the middle of the ocean, the first genderless gods began to appear. After them, the female deity Izanami and the male deity Izanagi came into our world. They took a spear, stirred the liquid earth, and it became solid. This is how land appeared. The couple had children, and one of them was the fire god Kagutsuchi. When he was born, he burned his mother to death and she ended up in the land of Yomi. It's considered so dangerous that even the gods don't dare to go there. But Izanagi loved his wife so much that he was willing to take the risk. He was determined to bring his wife back to the land of the living, and he found her in the land of the dead. But when he got there, he saw a completely different Izanami, who was hiding her face from her husband. She told him she'd already eaten the food there and now belonged to that place. He lit a fire and there, before him, was a decaying body, or what was left of his wife. The woman was furious and attacked her husband, but he managed to escape from Yomi and blocked the entrance with a huge stone. Since then, the realms of the living and the dead have been separated forever. While sailing on the boat, I thought it would be a good idea to have some fruit, cucumbers, or fish with me right now. I know, it's a pretty unusual mix of products, isn't it? But let me explain. I'm sure you've all heard stories about water spirits. They're malevolent spirits that embody the force of water and can drag you to the bottom. In Japan, there are their own water spirits called kappa. They're one of the most common mythical creatures. They have a pretty distinctive appearance. They look a bit like a cross between a frog and a turtle. This mythical creature has a depression on its head that looks like an oval dish. This depression must always be filled with water, otherwise, the creature will die. It is thought that Kappa enjoys playing pranks but does not cause harm to humans. However, there is a story that Kappa drags people passing by the water or swimming in the water to the bottom, drowns them, and then extracts a small ball from the person's anus and eats it. Yes, you heard that right. That's just how Japanese mythology rolls. It is said that this ball was a special organ in the anus, and removing it made a person a fool. It's thought that this ball represents the body's internal organs, and the Kappa simply decided to extract them in this unusual way. It is believed that Kappa is stronger than any man, but there are a few ways to defeat it. If you encounter this creature after it has eaten, even a child can defeat it. Or if you meet a Kappa, you simply need to bow to it before starting the fight, as is customary in Japan. It is believed that Kappa will bow back to you, the water from its head bowl will spill out, and thus the creature will die. Another method is to simply treat Kappa with cucumbers, fruits, or fish, as these are its favorite foods. In general, we were very lucky not to encounter the Japanese water spirit, but we had already gotten hungry, so after the boat ride, we were taken to a restaurant. This time we didn't eat anything from traditional cuisine, but there's more to come. We decided to stick with steaks. But what surprised me in this cafe was this vintage little fortune-telling machine. We couldn't figure out how it worked, so we called for an English-speaking Japanese person to help us out. Even he couldn't get it to work on the first try. We spent a long time trying to get to grips with this machine, but we eventually managed to get it working. For 100 yen, I got my fortune. I didn't understand anything, but I was happy with the result. This is what my fortune looked like. It contained advice and wishes in all the main areas of life: luck, health, love, travel, money, my lucky numbers, and so on. And at the end of the paper, there was a riddle: which prefecture in Japan has the largest area? By the way, do you know the correct answer? Please let me know in the comments. After mastering the water, we were taken to conquer the skies with a cable car ride. We climbed the mountain, and at the top, of course, we were greeted with an indescribably beautiful scene. The ocean, nature, Fuji, what could be better? Only the wind just wouldn't calm down, but even it didn't prevent us from enjoying the beauty around us. It's hard to believe that such incredible nature is so close to the bustling metropolis of Tokyo. On the observation deck, there was a place for worship and photo spots with Fuji in the background. You could take pictures next to Japanese characters or lie in a hammock. Among the Japanese mountains dwell creatures known as tengu. They are very mysterious and rarely show themselves to people. Tengu are often depicted with long noses and red faces. These creatures possess supernatural abilities and can fly. Initially, tengu were considered aggressive beings opposing Buddhism. They are often dressed like monks and carry a sharp sword. In reality, these beings do not harm religion but rather defend it. Tengu love cleanliness, do not tolerate the presence of people, disturb people in the mountains, frighten them with thunderous laughter, and imitate the crackle of felled trees. But they are incapable of causing more harm than that. Sometimes, you might hear the phrase, "This person has turned into a tengu lately." When a suddenly famous celebrity starts behaving arrogantly, they might earn this nickname. It is believed that ninjas learned their supernatural abilities from tengu. We were very impressed by the mountain beauties and headed back to the cable car to descend. Then we headed to the city of Shizuoka, specifically to Atami Garden. I've long dreamed of visiting this place, but without a car, it's impossible. The mountainous area and serpentines are everywhere. There's definitely no subway here. Maybe there are some regular buses from Tokyo, but thanks to this excursion, we got there in the most comfortable way. We came to Atami Garden for Momiji. This is the Japanese tradition of admiring the changing colors of autumn leaves. The tradition is primarily associated with the reddening leaves of maple trees. Momiji is just as important in Japan as admiring cherry blossoms. Both of these incredibly beautiful seasons play a huge role in Japanese poetry, visual arts, kabuki theater, and so on. But even in such a beautiful place as this garden, sinister creatures can await you. The ghost Beto-Beto-san loves to walk slowly along forest paths. It is a kind of huge ball on small thin legs, with no eyes, nose, or ears, but always with a wide, frightening smile. You can meet it not only in the forest but also on city streets. People who have had to return alone late at night often encountered it. It matches the steps of the traveler, getting closer and closer. Such stalking can really fray the nerves of its victim, which is exactly what the spirit aims for. This creature can cause fear, but it is not dangerous if you know one important rule: do not turn around. If you are the victim and you know that the spirit is following you, simply step to the side of the road, thus offering Beto-Beto-san to pass. You need to say the phrase "Please, go ahead Beta-san," and the spirit will pass by and disappear at the first turn. Just make sure it's not a real stalker. After admiring the maple leaves, we went to check into the hotel. It was in a classic Japanese style, very colorful, and we were thrilled. What surprised us was that when we crossed the threshold of the hotel, we had to take off our shoes near the reception and leave them in a small room. You have to move around the hotel in slippers that are given instead of your shoes. This is what our room looked like. We leave the slippers at the entrance. In the room, it is customary to walk barefoot in socks or have another pair of separate slippers. Everything is according to feng shui here, except the plasma TV stands out from the interior. The floor is covered with tatami, there are traditional partitions between rooms, and a tea table for ceremonies stands in the middle of the room. It immediately reminded me of the Simpsons episode when Homer came to Japan. Many Japanese people still sleep on futons today. A futon is a type of bedding made of a thick cotton mattress. The futon is laid out for sleep at night and then stored in a closet in the morning. Ofuro is a tiny Japanese bathtub. One submerges in it up to the shoulders. To retain heat, part of the ofuro can be covered with a special lid. Japanese people don't wash in the bathtub, they simply soak to warm up. All the dirt must be rinsed off in the shower first, which is located in the same room, and then, once clean, they take a bath. No self-respecting traditionalist Japanese person goes without an onsen. This is what they call hot springs in Japan. It's one of the locals' favorite pastimes. And since we were staying in a traditional hotel, there was, of course, an onsen. Everyone on the tour had the opportunity to visit it. But the peculiarity of these hot springs is that you must take the baths completely naked and together. Women bathe separately from men, though there are mixed onsens as well. We decided we weren't quite ready for such a close encounter with the culture, so we opted not to go. Next, we went to dinner, but before that, all the women were dressed in kimonos and the men in haoris. We were all very pleasantly surprised by such a warm welcome. Many thanks to the trip organizers because we truly found ourselves in a Japanese fairy tale. The food was insanely delicious. All the dishes were from traditional Japanese cuisine, and the presentation exceeded all expectations. The menu was on the table, and I tried, of course, to translate it. But honestly, none of us really understood what we were eating. The translator helped us figure out just a couple of dishes. For example, stewed meat with dumplings, mushrooms, and miso soup, sashimi, and grilled eggplants. But we couldn't make out anything else. Overall, the food was very unusual, almost extraterrestrial at times. But most importantly, the taste was excellent. After dinner, we shared our impressions for a long time and then went to sleep. There is also a myth in Japan about a woman with two mouths who loved to eat. Her name is Futakuchi Anna. The first mouth is where everyone's is, at the front, but the second mouth is hidden at the back of her head under her hair. They say this large mouth has its own mind and constantly talks to the woman, threatening her. The mouth demands food, so it endlessly scolds and screams, causing the woman incredible pain until she feeds it. This monstrous mouth can also control the woman's hair and use it like tentacles to grab food and shove it into its insatiable throat. According to the legends, an old miser lived in a small village, and he really didn't want to marry to avoid spending more money on food. But one day he met Futakuchi Anna, who was very, very thin. The old man married her, thinking she would eat very little. However, soon he noticed that his rice supplies were rapidly dwindling. One day he pretended to leave for work but stayed home quietly spying on his wife. To his horror, he saw her hair parting at the back of her head, her skull opening wide to reveal a huge mouth. When the woman noticed that the old man had discovered her secret, she attacked him. But the old man was lucky, and he managed to escape. The next day, we went for breakfast. Again, we were deliciously served traditional beautifully presented dishes. Full and satisfied, we headed to the Circus Art Museum. This was one of the most impressive locations due to the ocean view. Nearby stands the small but beautiful Atami Castle. It is quite an accurate replica of the fortresses from the Momoyama period, although it was built in 1959 to attract tourists. We enjoyed the museum, especially the children, but it turned out to be a standard museum of illusions. If you've ever been to similar places, you'll know what I mean. You can take cool 3D photos here, but what was new to me were these two paintings. The trick is to find 6 animals in the picture. Pause the video and try to find the 6 animals in the picture. We searched for a long time, found 3, but couldn't find the others. There is a hint on the side. You can see which animals are really there. Here we can see the 6 animals: giraffe, elephant, lion, chimpanzee, and others. The second painting is even harder. There are 9 animals hidden in it. Pause and try to find them. Write in the comments which animals you managed to see. But to avoid disappointing visitors who can't spot the animals, there is a hint on the wall. After that, we went to take photos with the Pacific Ocean in the background. The Japanese always take care of people's comfort, even in minor details, so on such observation decks, you can often find special stands for your phone. The best angle has already been chosen for you to get a great shot. Or it is very convenient if you come alone or with a group, but there is no one to take a picture of you. You set the phone on this stand, set the timer, and the photo is ready. The tourists who came with us, to be honest, didn't use it at all. We were bending over backwards just to get the perfect picture. Our journey ended with lunch in a very interesting place. I haven't seen anything like it anywhere else. We arrived at a restaurant, and there was an incredible number of tables already set. The food, as always, was top-notch. The plates were shaped like leaves, and the chefs in the restaurants went the extra mile to delight us. Even in the soup, we had something like maple leaves. The children's desserts shaped like cars captured my heart. After lunch, we went to a souvenir shop, and my attention was drawn to caviar in a very strange package. It turned out to be an eye mask. Can you imagine? You can put it in the refrigerator for a cooling effect or heat it in the microwave to warm up before bed in winter, for example. Such an interesting mask. This ended our adventure through traditional and mystical Japan, and we headed back home to Tokyo. Write in the comments which mythical creature surprised you the most. I now know many more legends about local spirits and supernatural beings, and if you are interested in this topic, please let me know with comments and likes, and I can make another interesting video for you. Just let me know in the comments. A big thank you to everyone for watching. Love you all, hugs, and see you in the next videos. Bye bye!